Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. This is week 15 of Trade Talks. My name is Brian, and I'm joined by Evan and Ryan. And today we'll be rolling through some of our favorite trade grades. We'll provide some trade grades on some real trades, and we'll highlight some other players of interest in week 15 of your fantasy hockey season. Here we go.
All right, welcome in everybody. Week 15 of Trade Talks. Look at that, guys. We made it. We made it 15 weeks on the Trade Talks show. That's pretty cool. How you guys feeling?
I'm great. I'm excited for 15 more weeks, but I don't think there's that many in the season, so I'll see what I have to do.
Yeah, surprised Nate and Blake haven't kicked us off yet, but appreciate the opportunity as always.
Yeah. We were just having an interesting conversation about Mr. Macklin Celebrini. I think it'll be interesting. Evan, right now, if you were to redraft like a new fantasy team, where are you drafting Macklin Celebrini? Which spot?
Kind of like we said, I think you can comfortably put him like I would say 6, like 5 or 6. I think you really could be looking at him once you get past McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Kucherov, Draisaitl. Like I think I know it sounds crazy. There's even an argument Draisaitl has left wing eligibility in most spots, so probably not. But like maybe over Kucherov, like I don't know, like in certain league formats, like he's the real deal, man. He's tearing it up. Like he shows no signs of slowing down. Like he just every time he's on the ice, and the Sharks, like they have like some decent support with like Tyler Toffoli, Alex Wenberg's having a career year, but like those names are not like high end players that he's like, passing the puck to, and he is just absolutely crushing it. So yeah, I'm a Celebrini believer. What about you, Brian? Where are you taking him?
I don't know if I'm taking him that high. Like I had a Kucherov. Yeah, I'll probably take Celebrini probably towards the end of the first round. I feel more comfortable in, I think, just because other guys have proven it longer. Especially with your first round pick, I kind of want to have someone that I know is going to be a lock for a lot of points, and who knows what happens with Celebrini. He could get hurt. Sharks could go down the chute. Who knows? But I would pick him probably at the end of the first.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a little more with Brian here. I'm still taking Kucherov, Draisaitl, Pastrnak over him. But he's definitely a first rounder now, which is pretty cool and exciting. I think like if he doesn't finish with his pace of 128 points, we might see him at like the back of the first round, the early second round next year. But if he keeps everything up this year, Evan, like I could definitely see his ADP being 5 next year, because even this year, after he had 63 points in 70 games, his ADP on a lot of sites were way higher than I think they should have been, and it made me miss out on a lot of Celebrini. I think his ADPs were like 21 on some sites, 30 on some others, but so yeah, I could see a lot of hype going for him next year at ADP 5.
It's crazy. It makes me sick. A lot of spots I saw Rob Thomas drafted ahead of Celebrini. It just goes to show, like things happen, and you got to kind of adjust for the following year. But I think if you're getting Celebrini with like your 10th through 12th pick next year, like I feel like a lot of people, this year, you're taking like Brady Tkachuk, Mikko Rantanen, and you're kind of upset. Like you're like, man, why did I get the 10th through 12th spot? If I get Celebrini like at 10 next year, I'm just gonna be dancing around like it's going to be great.
Yeah. Who knew Fantrax was wrong and Robert Thomas is not going to get 98 points?
Well, there's still time, Ryan. There's still time.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some newsies. Brian, you want to take us away on the first set of newsies here?
Let's do it. Some big news, especially this week, given that Edmonton plays 5 times this week. You got Jake Wallman, who's back. He did play yesterday. Nothing too exciting. I think it was like 2 shots and a block, but he is a block monster, and he had a lot of offensive upside. So if he is available to you this week, especially, I'd recommend picking him up for the rest of the week. They got, 3 more games left this week. So that's pretty exciting. Mira Heiskanen, almost at the last minute, wasn't playing yesterday, so he did miss the game because of a personal. family-related matters, and right now he is questionable for Thursday. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but it seems like questionable for Thursday. So we'll see what that means come Thursday. And then we turn over to the Anaheim Ducks, where it just seems like all of a sudden everyone isn't playing, and somehow they still ended up beating Dallas, or at least hanging around with Dallas there yesterday, which is crazy. Carlson, Gauthier, Troy Terry, they all missed Tuesday's game. Troy Terry missed because of an upper body injury. He was a game time decision, so he is close to returning. But Gauthier missed Tuesday's game with an illness, and Leo Carlson also missed Tuesday's game with a lower body injury. So something's going on in Anaheim. Hopefully they're all back quickly. And then Connor Bedard, I know you all just excited. He just came back, and then he missed a game because of an illness, but he's back again. So welcome back, Connor Bedard. Make sure you activate him. And then Tom Wilson, I know that initially we thought he was only going to miss 1 or 2 games, and I think he's pushing 5, but the coach did say he is likely to be available Thursday, ? So that remains to be seen, but hopefully that means he is back and available. And if he's healthy, you got to activate him because he was on a heater like no one's business when he was just playing. So make sure you get him into your lineup as well.
All right. And then we have Braden Point. Unfortunately, when he scored a goal, he had some knee issues with someone landing on his knee or something. So he's week to week. It wasn't as serious as like an ACL tear or anything like that, but expect Point out for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe he won't be back till the end of the Olympic break, and that's a big blow. If you drafted Point, he's done nothing for you other than the last 2 weeks. So at this point, I have Point in 2 spots, and I'm messaging people being like, listen, in our quarterfinals and semifinals, he plays 4 games each that week, so he can get you some nice points there. So stash him and give me someone I could use now, please. So that's what I'm doing. I recommend doing the same. In other news, Aiden Hill is getting close to a return. I believe he's backing up tonight for Akira Schmid, so he could get the start in Vegas's next game. And he should be their number 1 starter with Schmid, Lindbaum, Carter Hart coming back. I do think Aiden Hill is going to be their guy. And then Kiefer the Beefer Sherwood, he had an allergy reaction, supposedly. Wow. No, that's fake. That's fake news. Don't listen to me. But he's day to day, and he could miss up to a week. So get your hits elsewhere. And Mackenzie Blackwood is back. He's activated off the IR
for now.
For now. So no more Trent Miner. You can count on Blackwood and Wedgwood in the timeshare, in a very strong timeshare on the Colorado Avalanche. And then Jacob Chikrin got whatever was going around the league. He was sick and missed Tuesday's game. He'll hopefully be good enough to return tomorrow. And Neil Pionk is injured, and he'll be week to week. He's not counted on as one of the top defensemen, but gives you a spot to stash on the IR and go pick up another non-power play 1 defenseman or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like the week-to-week injury updates drive me nuts, because week-to-week, it's sometimes here's 3 days, and then other times they're out for 5 weeks. So hopefully the guys that are week-to-week, I know Seth Jones is week-to-week as well. You got Neil Pionk. Hopefully it's a lot shorter time than later, because I wish we had the inside scoop there. You'd think with such a great brand that we are, we get the inside scoop from the NHL, but we haven't got it yet.
Yep. All right, let's get to some comments here. We got Raj Panu joining us. Lego, hello, welcome on in. He's got a question here. He has Woll as his only goalie. Who should I prioritize picking up long term? Marilainen, Lankinen, Schmid, Freddie Anderson. Those are the guys available. It seems like everyone has 2 to 5 goalies, and there's 12 teams. And it's a points league where saves are 0.2, goals against are -1, wins are 3. So it seems like you just need an 800 save percentage, and wins are a little more valuable there. So for me, I might be happy rolling 0G here and keeping Woll as the only long-term guy here, because none of the guys on the waiver wire scream a pickup for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I my initial knee-jerk reaction would be to say Lankinen, but Vancouver is a dumpster fire, and that might do you no good by rostering Vancouver goalie. And then Marylainen, like maybe, but who knows when Ottawa, like Allmark, is going to be back. So yeah, I think you're probably best with just running one goalie and maybe picking up a streamer here or there.
Yep, I third that opinion. Wool is stronger than any of those.
Yeah. Lankinen, like, take a look at his stats so far in that particular league and fantasy points. If he's doing all right in that setup, like he's not gonna do much worse. He's been pretty bad. So if he's getting some nice points, so you can go ahead and grab him. Best kept secret 87. Sup guys? Hello. Can you guys look at the Red Wings playoff schedule? Week 21 to 23, which I got it up here. I believe it's March 16 to April 5, and not great. I mean, not the worst. 10 games, only 3 off nights. But it looks like in that quarterfinals, they play 3 games, and then they play 3 games again, and then they play 4 games. So they're not going to be elite for you in the quarters and the semis. But I don't think you're dropping any elite guys. It's more the JVRs that might not make it into your fantasy playoffs. Evan, would you agree as a Red Wings representative here?
I would. Yeah, they in like the quarterfinals, like you said, they play like Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, which I hate when schedules are like that, when they have like 2 days between games played. But I will say that their strength of schedule is pretty decent. Like they're not playing like the best opponents, but to your point, yeah, like the kind of like waiver level or like fringe guys, like you could, look at somebody else like outside of like Raymond, DeBrincat, Larkin, the strong guys.
Yeah. Lucio, hello. Since trade deadline is upon us, not quite yet, but in a month and a half, what content will you handsome men be doing after the deadline? That's a great question. We have lots of ideas flowing. If you have any suggestions, leave a comment. Let us know what you want us to do, but lots of ideas flowing. Make sure you tune in. Thoughts from Champ8923. Thoughts on trading Bouchard, Batherson, and Ginos for Kucherov and Larkin. Goals are 3, assists are 2, shots are 0.5, hits and blocks are 0.5 each as well. Interesting. It looks like a heavier block weight and hit weight than normal, I believe. Mm-hmm. So Ginos might actually have some value, but yeah, I think I'm going the Kucherov side here. What about you guys?
Yeah, anytime you're getting Kucherov, and then Larkin's been pretty good this year, I'd go with Kuch and Larkin.
Yeah, smash, accept, and don't think twice about it.
Yep. All right. Do you guys think New Jersey and the Rangers have more offense in the tank, both averaging less than 2.75 goals for per game? Yeah, I believe so. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. I think New Jersey specifically, like their team pretty much stayed the same as it did last year, and they still were able to score some goals. This year, you've had guys that you typically can rely on getting points, like Bratt, and he hasn't done much, but I think that they'll turn around, they'll change out. Look at even Dougie Hamilton, who was horrific to start the year, and lately he's been putting up points since he was he didn't play one game, and I think he has a point in every game since he's been back. So yeah, I think the offense is coming, especially in New Jersey.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Brian here. Really more focused on New Jersey. I think they are starting to turn things around. I mean, got at least 2 goals in the game so far against the Kraken tonight. I think they're starting to get their legs up under them a little bit. The Rangers, I'm much more concerned about. Their funk has continued, and losing Shesterkin has seemed to completely zap this team because he was kind of keeping him in a lot of games. Now that Jonathan Quick at 80 years old is playing in there, it's looking a lot rougher.
Yeah, I agree. I'm more excited about New Jersey, and just taking a look here. Both of them have a way lower actual goals scored than expected goals for, and their scoring chances for per 60 at even strength is near the middle of the league, where the goals for are near the bottom of the league. So I would count on that to regress a little bit. And then the power plays, we're looking at where are you? Yeah, New York's 20th in power play goals for per game, and the Devils are 23rd. I do think that both can improve, and we might be seeing that with the Devils already. So I would be buying here.
I'd also like to point out that quick live update: the Senators are up 5-0 on the Rangers, and we're not even halfway through the game. I don't know if there's a white flag that Mike Sullivan can wave. Like, is there surrender forfeit in professional hockey? Because I think they should just do it.
Yeah. Just give up. We would all love to see that. So would the Rangers fans. All right, let's do one more comment here before we get into some trade targets. Random reviews, welcome in. Hey guys, wanted to get your thoughts on a trade I turned down. It's a points league similar to APL, but no power play points. His Caulfield, Sider, and Nurse for Makar, Huberdeau, and Michkov. Should he have taken it? Yeah, if this is a 12 team, it's really you're just getting Makar and you're giving up Caulfield, Sider, and Nurse. Ooh, what do you guys think?
Yes, take it. Should have taken it. 1,000%.
Probably I'd take it. Colorado's playoff schedule too. I'm thinking of. I'd probably take it.
I do really like Sider, and Caulfield's good in his own right. Nurse, I mean, in APL settings is nothing to me. Same with Michkov and Huberdeau, but I mean, 2-for-1 Sider and Caulfield for Makar. I feel like you could get more for Makar personally, but
yeah, I agree. I would take it. Take Makar and get those streams in for the remaining 2 spots. Alrighty, let's get into some trade targets. So, these are guys that we're looking at trading for right now based on what we think their value might be in fantasy managers' minds. Evan, I believe you're up first. Tell us what you think.
Yes. I think Nate and Blake have touched on this as well, but Brant Clark is really starting to get to business recently. They've kind of been doing this weird split with the power play, but the power play that he's on is getting more time. It's with Adrian Kempe, Quentin Byfield, Fiala himself, and then Kuzmenko. And they've started to produce more as well. I just really think even Jim Hiller, unfortunately, is making some smart decisions for this team. Brant Clark is the future here. He's doing pretty good. He's got 72 blocks this season. He's good peripherally. He's shooting a little bit more recently. With this increased opportunity and more power play time with this kind of 1A, 1B situation, I think he's going to put up more points, and they're kind of giving him more even strength minutes as well. I just really think that his value kind of lies in the rest of the season. If you're a believer in second half Fiala or Adrian Kempe turning it around, the Kings at all, really, I think Brant Clark is going to be a part of that. He's one of their best young players. They got to start putting some faith in him because Drew Doughty is not getting any younger, and he's not getting any more spry offensively, especially. And this team kind of needs this. They don't need more defensive structure. They need a little bit of offense, and he's bringing that from the back end. So I think you could throw I would even give up a Rasmus Anderson in a points league or someone of that caliber. If another defenseman that you pick up off waivers is doing a little bit hotter, then go grab them. I grabbed them off of waivers in the Experts League, Ryan, through 10 of them. So I'm pretty excited. As a fourth defenseman, I think that he's going to do really well rest of season.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, even Jim Hiller is using him a bit, but I would love to see 25 minutes, 24 minutes. He's been getting around 17, 20, 21, 17, 21,
closer to 19, 20. Yeah. I don't know that we'll see that this season, but if he ever did, then we'd really be looking at a pop off.
Yeah. I mean, we might. Jim Hiller, it's time to go. Get out of there. Right?
I don't think there's a coach that's maybe Keefe. Maybe Keefe or Berube are kind of right up there, but I don't know. Jim Hiller's got to be the top for fantasy.
Yeah. All right, Brian, who's your trade target?
Yeah, so sticking with the Kings, I think we're going to see a trend here. I'm rolling with Adrian Kempe. Now, the reason I'm looking at Adrian Kempe here is you probably drafted him pretty high, maybe in the first 5 rounds or so. And his point production has really dropped off recently. He's averaging a half a point a game over the last 30 days, which it really just isn't to his standard. He's typically a very reliable fantasy asset. You know, he gives you a lot of peripherals, he shoots, he hits, he blocks a little bit as well. Right now, he's shooting a little bit less for the last 30 days. So his underlines, if you take a look at those, they are ice cold. If you're using the Apple Ginos underlying metric tool there, you'll also see a ton of snowflakes beside all of his numbers because he is that cold. So that's not going to stay. I think this is probably the best time that you're ever going to get in on Adrian Kempe. I think if, you know, like we talked about so many times now, if the Kings decide to fire Jim Hiller, you have the second half surge with Fiala. Means that power play will start going. He's on that power play. He shoots typically on that power play. So he's going to be reaping some of the rewards there. I just think Adrian Kempe, there's a couple of guys on the Kings I want to be in on, especially in the second half. And if you have Adrian Kempe, you're probably frustrated with the production he's given you recently. And that might be just enough for you to get at a manager who's owning him to, you know, prime off their hands a little bit. So, yeah, I'd be looking to pick up some Kempe.
Yeah, I like it. So when Jim Hiller gets fired, we're going to see my trade target from last week, Fiala, Adrian Kempe, and Brant Clark all just go absolutely nuts for the last 8 weeks of the fantasy season. We'll see when Jim Hiller gets fired. I've been talking to some guys in Kings management, and they some sources in there, and they tell me that it's soon. So trust me, I'm a real insider.
Wow.
Ryan the insider. I do think that those 3 players specifically would be the ones to benefit from Jim Hiller's firing like the most, because I think they're the most talented, the most offensive driven players. Maybe Quentin Byfield if they get an offensive minded coach as well. But
yeah. All right. My trade target at the moment is Cutter Gauthier. So this is a guy who's had a very different last 15 games played to the start of the season. He only has 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 15 games played. Anaheim did win last night, but they were on, I believe they won 2 out of those 15 games. With Cutter Gauthier being extremely cold, but they won last night, but Gauthier was sick and Troy Terry was out, and so was Leo Carlson. So I don't know, maybe they can win without the talent. No, that was just a good strong performance by the team, but he's still getting 3.7 shots on goal per game in this cold streak that he's in. And in that span, he's also first in shot attempts per 60 in the league at even strength. He's 7th in shots on goal per 60, and he has a 5% shooting percentage. So yeah, I'm loving that as a guy to have in fantasy. These are the guys I love targeting in fantasy, the guys who shoot lots, who are going to be the goal scorers on their line. And his shooting percentage of 5%, that should come back up. And the on-ice shooting percentage as well at even strength is 5% as well. Looking at his line, they're not poor defensively. They definitely are. They're in the top 3 in expected goals for per 60. Gauthier, McTavish, Seneca. We'll see if that sticks. They're not elite defensively, but they have a 59% expected goals share. So I don't see Gauthier, being moved down the lineup into the middle 6. I think he is solidifying himself as a top line guy and should just get some more ice time. And then if you're looking at Anaheim in general, they have the second most remaining games played left before the playoffs, with the most off nights, with 13 off nights, 2 more than the next best team. So it just gives you some more roster flexibility. So I would be going to Cutter Gauthier's managers and telling them, Cutter Gauthier, look what he's done for you lately. They're probably reached a point where they now are off the hot stuff from the start of the season, and they are seeing how cold he is lately. And you can say, yeah, maybe that start was just a fluke, and I'll take Cutter Gauthier off your hands here. I need some shots or something. I just wanted shots. He won't put up points, but give me his shots. So I think he can still get a point per game pace. And I think Anaheim will turn it around to not be as hot as they were to start the season, but somewhere in the middle between the last 15 games and their start of the season. So guys, I would trade away. Like, honestly, I would trade Philip Forsberg for Cutter Gauthier right now. We took Philip Forsberg to court. He was guilty, and I think I'd rather Cutter Gauthier the rest of the season. Some other options, maybe Braden Point. You can maybe go to a guy in first, second, or third and say, hey, take Braden Point, this elite goal scorer who has shown to be turning it around lately, opposite to Cutter Gauthier. And maybe you can use Braden Point as a piece to put on their IR and say that he'll crush it for fantasy playoffs. And then another option, I think Steven Stamkos and William Eklund could be a cool package to get Cutter Gauthier. Do you guys think that would be like a fair offer? If you owned Cutter Gauthier right now and I sent you Stamkos and Eklund, what do you guys think?
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but that's because I know that's because I listen to the Apples Ginos. No, I don't think I would do that. I know I like the way I'm looking at Stammer right now is he's been hot, but look what he did last year. He was horrible, and I feel like at any time, without looking into anything, I could just be like, well, Stammer can drop down into oblivion once again. Maybe Forsberg will rise to the occasion. That's I probably wouldn't do that, but Forsberg, it's really interesting. And who would have thought that if we had this conversation at the beginning of the season, you'd be looking to trade Cutter Gauthier for Forsberg or Braden Point like that? That's crazy to me.
Yeah. All right. So that's my trade target. And before we get into some trade grades, we can get into some more comments. So we have Zachary Lelivre. I hope I pronounced your name right. Thoughts on trading Stützle and Rob Thomas to receive Nylander and Zetterlund in a head-to-head Cats league. That's tricky. I don't know if I'd do that because Stützle is really turning it up lately, and Nylander, as much points as he can get, he's really not shooting. What do you guys think?
Ooh, yeah, but Zetterlund gives you the hits. He's up and down the lineup, though. Thomas, I don't believe in. I'd probably stay with Stützle and Thomas. You got more concrete points, I think.
Yeah, I think you got to get something a little bit better than Zetterlund here, because I think it's very possible Stützle outperforms Nylander the rest of the season. Big question mark is Rob Thomas, but I don't know that I would. Yeah,
I think hold pat. We got Raj Panu dropping Riley for him. He's probably referencing some defenseman that we were talking about.
Brent Clark, maybe?
Yeah. There you go. Riley for Brent Clark. Yeah, maybe. You might be done with Morgan Riley.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Would you trade away Keller for Jack Hughes?
Yes.
New Jersey playoff schedule.
If you get
better.
Jack,
Yeah. I think we're all doing that and making sure that Jack Hughes doesn't poke himself with anything sharp.
Handheld foods, as he said. The second part here, would you consider Nuke a buy low? Yes, I still think so.
Yeah. He had a hot stretch. Is he still considered low?
Because now he did go pointless, I think, in at least 3 or 4, maybe less, and then he is off the top power play. So I think you could probably still, despite our trade target, go and still get him.
Yeah, he's actually pointless in those last 6 games after a huge hot stretch of like the 10 games before that. So he might be a buy low, and if he gets on the top power play, even though Colorado crushes at even strength more than their power play, that would pay off a lot for you.
Their power play has kind of done better, I want to say, even during his pointless streak, right? Over the past several games, like maybe not like crazy good, but I'll tell you one person who's getting to work on that power play is Brock Nelson. So they're not moving him off.
That's for sure. Another question here. Best kept secret. Wondering about the playoff schedule, weeks 21 to 23, about Utah and Vegas as well. Utah plays less games than Detroit with 9 and only 2 off nights. They do have a pretty good quarterfinals with 4 games played and 2 off nights there. But then after the quarterfinals, it's just 3 off nights in the semis, and then just 3 on nights, 3 busy nights in the semis, and then 2 busy nights only in your fantasy finals. So that is not great for Utah. And then Vegas, similar to Detroit, plays 10 games as well, but just 1 off night. Not great. When healthy, from Breadman 7777, Ovi or Point? And then Leonard or Landeskog. I'm gonna go Braden Point instead of Ovi, and I'm gonna go Landeskog instead of Leonard. What about you guys?
Yep, agree.
I think I'd go Ovi over Point. I don't know. I don't think I'm as big as Point this year, and Ovi still keeps scoring. I don't know. I go Point, but I'd also go Landeskog.
All right.
I think, yeah.
All right.
Point almost had his knee blown up, and he still scored a power play goal, Brian.
That's true.
As an animal.
But Ovi's 104, and he's still scoring.
That's true. I traded for Ovi too in a league, and I did it more so because I still think, like, even though he has the goal record, like, I still think he gets like a fair amount of empty net chances the rest of the way. Like, his teammates are still feeding him for the, I want to see him get to 900, 1,000 goals. Who doesn't? So
yeah. And like Evan, I saw that trade again. You only gave up the 5th rounder, not the 4th rounder, right?
Yes.
Which in our league is considered like a 2nd rounder after the 3 keepers, and I think that's fair value. I thought you gave up a 4th, and initially I was like, I wouldn't do that. That's my 1st round pick, but I would give up the 5th. It's a nice job there.
I talked him out of the 4th. I was trying to talk him into a 6th, but he wouldn't do that, so I had to move up the return of a 12th to the 9. So, kind of, splitting hairs, but.
All right, let's get into some trade grades. These are trades submitted by everyone in the Discord. If you listen to this podcast, get in the Discord and let us know any trades that you made, and we will provide some trade grades. So let's get into the first one here. We have a points league where goals are 4.5, assists are 3.5, shorties are 2, so no power play points, just shorties. Shots are 0.5, hits are 0.25, and blocks are 0.5. We're giving away Pasternak, Andrew Kopp, and Svechnikov, and we're getting Scheifele, Hagel, and Kiefer Sherwood. And this one's submitted by Sens Sickos. No Sens in this trade, so it's unbiased. All right, Ryan's ruling here. I'm giving this one a D+. I would not be doing this trade. Pasternak, as much as he hasn't been, top 5 fantasy asset, he's still in the top 10, and he is improving, and he's still shooting tons. So I think that Pasternak is the best guy in the trade here, and we're just not getting enough. Svechnikov, I think here's how I see it. We have Pasternak as the best guy, and then we have Scheifele and Hagel as pretty good pieces coming back, and then we have Svechnikov. And then Sherwood and Kopp might be a little irrelevant here. So, in my opinion, I don't want to give away the best player in Pasternak. Evan.
Yeah, I give this a C, so I would not do this trade. Similar rationale to you. I do think that like Scheifele and Hagel are closer in value. So like if it was Scheifele and Hagel for just Pasta, you'd say yes, I would do that. But I think Svech is doing well enough, and he's stapled to Aho, and he's actually performing, especially of late. So I don't think you can just ignore that and say he's going to fall off or kind of rob Brind'Amour. But so yeah, I wouldn't do the trade, although I think it's a little bit closer than what you graded, but I still would not do it for the reasons you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Brian, you got any booms?
I got no booms this time. No booms for Brian. I do like this trade a little bit more than you guys, but I'm still not doing it. And very simply, I think you can get a lot more for Pasternak. And if I'm going to move away from Pasta, I want to be receiving a little bit more. And then Evan, to your point, throwing in Svech in there too, like it hurts the deal, I think, for me. So just getting Sherwood. It's like Sherwood for Svech and then Scheifele and Hagel for Pasta. I don't think that's enough for me. So I wouldn't be making that.
All right. Trade number 2 submitted by Darush. And first off, before we get into the trade, he also wants to know if this should be vetoed for favoring the Crosby side. I just wanted to bring up vetoes again. In my opinion, in competitive leagues, nothing should be vetoed by the commissioner unless there's like clear collusion in nice competitive leagues where everyone's paying attention. If your league is set up where you have the option to vote on a veto and it's like majority just vetoes the trade and then it's vetoed, that's part of the league rules. And, that's up to the managers in those leagues. I would probably be inclined to vote veto anytime a better team is getting a better deal, but that's how those leagues are set up. So in terms of whether this should be vetoed for favoring the Crosby side, hey, if it's the first place team, you can go ahead and vote veto if you want. But if you're the commissioner and you're thinking of vetoing this, I think that's a no-no. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yep, pretty much. I think I've told you guys one of my main leagues, a Fantrax league, it's 6 votes to veto. So it's, the 50% of a 12-team league. And we've had a few people fall off, but I feel like after this year, in this particular league, I've made 8 trades. It's a lot of trades.
A lot.
Now, some of them have been ticky-tack 1-for-1s, but I feel now as though kind of like Ryan, like if a trade is grossly unfair or like real signs of collusion, it should be vetoed. But outside of that, if there's a pathway for both managers to potentially win the trade, I don't know. I'm not like hitting the veto button a lot. I feel like a lot of people will hit the veto button because they don't want a certain person to win a trade that they perceive, even though that may be fair value. So that's kind of where I lie in that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think in leagues where you might have like a new guy who doesn't play fantasy hockey or doesn't really watch, or like 3 guys who haven't really been paying attention, that's where I think the commissioner can come in and like veto trades that have those teams have super lopsided trades. But that would be the rare occasion, and depending on those leagues. So Brian, you want to take us into this trade?
Yeah. So this is a 12-team ESPN Cats league. So the categories here, it's going to be goals, assists, plus minus, penalty minutes, face-off wins, shots, hits, blocks, and shorthanded points. Trade here is submitted by Darush. You're going to be giving away Connor McDavid and Quinton Byfield, but you're going to be receiving Crosby, Zibanejad, and Jesper Bratt. So I think I'm up first here. You get a boom. We'll give this a boom. I'll give this a B+. I think it's close, but I think I actually am making this trade. I think this is the best time I think you can get Jesper Bratt, because I'm a believer that the Jersey is going to have to start playing better. They're going to put some more pucks in net, and Jesper Bratt's going to be at the end of that. So he's going to get the puck. He's going to get some points. Crosby, all reliable. And then Zibanejad seems to be one of the only bright spots in New York. So I think you're getting 3 studs here. I look at this trade as Quinton Byfield is just kind of like a toss-in, so I'm not even going to look at him in this. And you're giving up McDavid, which is obviously huge. But I think I'm actually leaning towards, yes, I would make that trade just because you're getting so many solid assets in return. And then not to mention the Rangers' playoff schedule is nice.
All right, Evan.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I would make the trade. It's really close because anytime you're giving up like a McDavid, McKinnon level player, like it's really hard to do. Like it's hard to justify the value coming back, but I think this is it. I mean, you're getting back Crosby, who is going to get you a ton of face-off wins. He's probably going to get close to 90 points again. And then you've got Zibanejad, who's done really well despite the Rangers' struggles. And this league counts shorthanded points. Both Zibanejad and Jesper Bratt play shorthanded. I think both of them could have pretty much point per game pace rest of the season, really good value. And so if you need those spaces on your team, this is a situation where I feel like the manager who's trading away McDavid either has injuries or feels that these other players can upgrade him at those specific positions and just get him more coverage across the board. So I don't mind it.
All right, I'm with you guys. I'm in the B range. Oh, where are we? There we are. Ryan's ruling.
My turn
I'm in the
again.
B range.
Another boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving this one a B plus. Again, it's really hard to trade away McDavid, but I think for Evan, you hit the nail on the head here. Sidney Crosby, Zibanejad, and Bratt are enough for me to pull the trigger. And then if you're just looking at the playoff schedules, as long as it doesn't go right to the end, where Pittsburgh, I believe, only plays 4 games in that prolonged week. If it ends April 5th, Crosby, Zibanejad, and Bratt all have pretty good playoff schedules, especially Zibanejad and Crosby.
That's so many games played. That's an insane amount of games in the finals.
And Edmonton, I believe they have a terrible playoff schedule there. So McDavid might play like 3 games less than Crosby, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and
9 to 12. Yep.
Even if McDavid gets 2 points a game, like you're missing out on games played there. So I like this trade.
Wow. Weeks 21 to 23, Edmonton has 9 games, 0 off nights. And then weeks 22 to 24, they have 11 games and only 2 off nights. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. All right, Evan, trade number 3.
Absolutely. So this is a 12-team Roto League. Goals, assists, power play points, shots on goal, blocks, and plus minus. Submitted by Darush again, giving away Brock Faber and Mark Stone, and receiving Jesper Bratt and Lane Hudson.
All right. I'm giving this one an A plus. Yeah, this is no doubt here. Brock Faber, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. It's like you're having a great season and happy for you, but you're not a top. You're not going to finish with over 50 points. Let me just say that. And then we have Lane Hudson, who I am picking up what you're putting down. He's on close to a point per game pace. He could finish with 70 points, which would be really cool. Faber does give you the blocks, but Hudson has put up a few blocks here and there. And then we're giving away Mark Stone. We're getting Jesper Bratt. This, I think, is similar value. And then you're giving away the injury risk of Mark Stone, and you're getting Jesper Bratt. So give me Lane Hudson and Bratt all day. Brian?
This one we get a boom. I'm giving this one an A+. First of all, taking a look at Brock Faber, you're not that guy, pal. You know, he's not that guy. Whereas on the other side, exactly what Ryan said. I like Lane Hudson, like what he's doing. He's pacing point per game. Like, that's pretty nice. So you're looking at those players 1 for 1. Lane Hudson wins that every single day of the week. And then Bratt, I'm just a big fan of Bratt. I just think there's so much, like, the ceiling is really high with Bratt. I would take him over Mark Stone. Not to mention there is an injury history with Mark Stone. Who knows? You know, the playoffs in not a couple weeks, but we still have like a half the season, but still plenty of time for Mark Stone to hit the IR again. And in that time, Jesper Bratt's going to the moon. So yeah, I'm taking that trade all day.
Evan, no A+ from you.
No A+. Now here's the thing. It's an A. It's a smash. You take the trade all day. However, this is what I am. There's 2 things. One is, I don't know if you guys saw this. Noah Dobson was put on the top power play over Lane Hudson past 2 games. And Marty St. Louis had a comment that he wants pucks fired towards the net, which Noah Dobson is doing more of than Lane Hudson. And Noah Dobson ended up getting a power play goal. Now, 1, I love Noah Dobson if that's the case. But 2, I don't like that idea. I don't think it sticks. Lane Hudson's too talented. He's been really good in that spot in the power play, facilitating it. But the biggest part of this is, I know we're not the fantasy hockey court yet. I want to defend Brock Faber a little bit here. The guy is getting pooped on for doing well. Zeev Bouillon comes in, everyone's like, Brock Faber is dead to us. He's not top power play. He's not going to do anything. He's a 20-point defenseman. all of a sudden he's paired with Quinn Hughes, who is the second first best defenseman in the league. And, he's still doing it. Like, I feel like there's just something positive that Brock Faber is taken into this season, and he's just kind of doing it. And so I don't really think Brock Faber is nothing. I think he could easily be like a fourth defenseman for you, and you'd be pretty happy with it. And here's the other thing. Another segue. Where are we drafting Mark Stone next year? Because I don't want to say like this injury stuff, like the injury stuff, like fine, you throw him on your IR, whatever. If he comes back and he's pacing for 110 points, he gets a point per game. Like, why not? Like, are we taking him in like, the 8th round, 7th round, maybe? Like, I mean, why not? I've somebody got him in a few of my leagues in like, the 15th, 18th round. Like, no one wants him.
Yeah, I mean, he won't go there next season. I mean, if he plays he'll finish, if he plays the rest of the games, he'll finish with like 60 games played. He played 66 the year before, 56 the year before, 43, 37, 55, 65. So he's right in that range of games played if he plays the rest of the year. And I mean, then you just have to look and say, okay, well, is this 120 point pace real when he's shooting 23%? He only has 2.3 shots per game, which is pretty much what he does. Again, we'll see if he finishes the year. If he does finish the year, that's like 50-ish straight games played, and that is a sign to me of like, okay, maybe I can ignore the injury narrative and
that's
take
a healthy
the value of Mark Stone
in anybody's book.
Yeah.
So next year, when we're all in a league together, when I take Celebrini in the first and Mark Stone in the second, you guys are gonna be laughing at me.
We might.
We might, yeah.
Yeah, just like we were laughing at Rantanen
over
Philip Forsberg.
There we go. But I think, I should go back. This trade is a smash, except great. I love it. I just had to defend Mark Stone and Brock Faber there a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Trade number 5 here. Number 4. We have a points league, and this is surrounding some goalies submitted by Agonize. A goalie start is 1, wins are 3, goals against are minus 1.5, with saves being 0.3, and then a shutout is 4. So again, 800 save percentage would be 0 in the saves and goals against. So it doesn't really punish bad starts and really rewards wins. And we are giving away Joseph Woll and Svechnikov, and we're receiving Connor Hellebuck. So we're buying low here on Connor Hellebuck. We're giving away Woll and Svechnikov. For me, I'm giving this one a B. I am going to do this. We are 0G, but you can't pass up Connor Hellebuck for this value, because Hellebuck will get probably close to the most starts on his team compared to any other starter the rest of the season. And that's really what's going to be valuable here. I think that if Connor Hellebuck is giving you 3 to 4 starts per week, even if all those are losses, if he gets a 905 save percentage, he's given you plenty of positive points in this setup. So I'm taking Connor Hellebuck here. Joseph Woll, I think, will be in a timeshare with either Hildeby or Stolaires or all 3 of them. We'll see. And Svech, as much as I'm enjoying Svechnikov this season, I'm taking Connor Hellebuck here for the value. Evan.
Yeah, I'm giving this an A. It's one of those things where I do like Svechnikov, but I would have to say, like, if he's willing to trade him away, I have to believe he has, like, wings that he's comfortable with, comparatively to Svech. I think like Hellebuck, like the Winnipeg Jets have had the worst season of any team, I think, so far, especially based on last year's standards. I don't think they're as bad as what they're playing right now. I really don't. I think they are better, especially defensively. And I think Connor Hellebuck is better individually too. And like you said, he's nailed in for the starts. He's going to be good rest of the way, I think. And I also think there's something to be said for, I've said it before, and I don't have like real statistics to back this up, but teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs like the Winnipeg Jets and don't have a lot to play for near the end of the season tend to do better. And I think they're not just going to give up. They're not going to roll over. I think the Jets are like, you got Scheifele, Kyle Connor. That's a proud group. They're going to score goals. They're going to do better. So I think getting Hellebuck as like, a top 5 goalie rest of the season is worth giving up Svetch. And I don't really value Wool that much at all.
Interesting. I'm going in a different direction.
I want to see the stats. I want to see the stats on non-playoff teams in our fantasy playoffs.
I'll accrue this data and bring it next time.
Yes, or anyone listening, if you have some free time, let us know.
Last 3 years, Ottawa Senators, Buffalo, Montreal. Go look at their last those players for fantasy.
Yeah,
and probably San Jose and Chicago. To be honest,
it's a long list. One thing we should also mention is this guy also has Matthew Tkachuk coming back, so that's why he kind of threw in Svechnikov into the mix to acquire Hellebuck. Like, I gave this a C. I'm not doing this trade, and the reason being, I think last year Winnipeg overachieved a lot, and that was because of Hellebuck mostly. And now that they're at the bottom, like they suck this year. And that is with Hellebuck playing. So if he's not on his game, then they don't have a chance, I think, in most games. And I really like the way Joseph Woll is playing right now. I think when Stolarz comes back, I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split. I think they're going to, let Stolarz play a couple games, but he's very injury prone, it seems like. So I think if anything, it's going to be like a 60-40. It could even be a 70-30 for Joseph Woll. And then you're getting rid of Svechnikov. I get it because you're going on the name brand of picking up Hellebuck, but for me personally, I wouldn't do that trade and get rid of Svechnikov, who's on that top line with Aho. Gives you a lot of value. I'd maybe try to see if you can throw in a different forward and see if that manager bites on that trade. But for the time being, like I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm not looking too far into the future, and I'm just looking at what have you done for me lately. And Joseph Woll has been a lot better than Hellebuck.
All right.
Team situation wise, that's a good point. And Brian with the true #0G. So way to keep up the brand, Brian.
Yeah. Brian will never trade for Connor Hellebuck or draft him before the 8th round. And I mean, if you're taking Svechnikov right now, you might be drafting Svech in the 7th, maybe the 8th. So yeah. Hellebuck is a 9th rounder to Brian.
That's right.
Actually, that was pre
in like the 1st and 2nd round. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And
Hellebuck was
Ginos league.
Yeah. Hellebuck was a 9th rounder to Brian in the preseason, but now he's a 16th rounder.
I'm not even considering him.
He's waiver wire. I wouldn't even pick him up for a spot start.
All right, let's get some more comments here. Nightbane, boys, keep up the great work. Bonjour. Kreider just got dropped. I know he looks bad in the last 10 games, but his week 23 schedule looks great. I think there will be a bounce back when Carlson and Terry are back. That's really cool of you to look at probably the fantasy finals for you for Chris Kreider. I think if he's on the waiver wire, like he might be there in the finals. So I wouldn't go to pick him up right now for the fantasy finals. What about you guys?
I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Kreider believer. I actually I don't want to completely dump all over your Cutter Gauthier take as a trade target, Ryan. But I feel like the shine has worn off for me. I feel like it's kind of I definitely believe in Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Jackson Lacombe, kind of their top end young talent. I believe in still, but yeah, like the Chris Kreiders, the Mikael Granlund, like those type of guys, they're not as much to me anymore.
Yeah. And the shine has worn off to you, and maybe you'd give up Cutter Gauthier and take Philip Forsberg, right?
That's true. And it's interesting you said that. I don't know that I do that. Forsberg for Cutter Gauthier. That's an interesting one. That's one I'd have to spend some time digging in on.
All right.
Got to sleep.
This guy is saying that Nightbane is saying he would drop Dursey, Morgan Riley, or Krause. I don't know if you need the D roster spot. I'm still holding on to Morgan Riley unless he's like your bench D. Then you could drop him.
Yeah, I agree. He also said Ehlers is also a free agent. I would much rather have Nick Ehlers than Chris Kreider.
Oh, yeah.
But I also wouldn't drop Jersey, or rather, I would drop Kraus, even though he is top line right now. But obviously, I'd
great.
Kraus.
Yeah.
Go get Nick Ehlers. All right. Lucio traded Schmaltz for Nichushkin. He doesn't fit in the playoff schedule nicely. Do you approve swapping Nichushkin for Ehlers? I approve of that right now. And yeah, it could bite you in the butt when Nichushkin gets back up to the top power play and possibly the top line, but it's possible that doesn't happen. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would do it too. Especially, I mean, he nailed it. It's if he's not going to fit into your playoff schedule and you know that already, and you kind of got that locked in, then go for a guy that's going to fit into your playoffs. Like if Ehlers is, the same as Nichushkin or could be even better as of right now, unless Nichushkin does get that top power play, then yeah. And I think Nichushkin as well. He's got the injury history. He's got other history of missing games. So I think Ehlers is more of a surefire thing.
Yeah. And Breadman wants to know if you would trade Byfield for Nuke. Evan?
Yes, 1,000%.
Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. And then he also is saying Luke Hughes to the moon when Hamilton gets traded. We've talked about Luke Hughes a lot. We've taken him to court. If Dougie Hamilton is traded, is Luke Hughes going to the moon? And the moon might mean like what? 65?
Easy on my trade target. He had a power play
65 point pace.
I'll have you know.
Yeah. So yeah, to be honest, I think when Hamilton gets traded, they might still run this 1A, 1B power play they got going right now with Simone Nemec on the B power play with like Jesper Bratt and Timo Meyer. So I don't know if we're talking about the moon here for Luke Hughes, but we're talking about maybe the International Space Station.
He's got to get out of our airspace first to be able to get to the moon. So he's maybe got to get 10 feet off the ground even.
Yeah. All right. Hey guys, Brutal Wolf just did a blockbuster trade in his Dynasty League to win now. He traded Boldy, Cousins, Lundell, Nikishin, and Knight. Holy, what a package. And he got Kucherov, Crosby, and McAvoy. Goals are 1.5, assists are 1, shots 0.1, hits 0.1. Wow. Traded away Boldy. And then, yeah, Cousins, Lundell, Nikishin, Knight, and got Kucherov, Crosby, McAvoy. Yeah, I like it. I really like Boldy. So that's the only guy I'm like, oof, what are you doing there in a Dynasty League? But you're getting Kucherov, and then Crosby's still going to help you out for the next 2 years. What do you guys think about this trade?
Yeah, but Cousins has a 4-point night tonight. No, I'm doing that trade. As much as I like Boldy as well, I think Kucherov is the better player. Crosby, like we said, old, reliable, and McAvoy's having himself a pretty decent year as well. So, yeah, I'm making that trade.
Yeah, that's crazy value to get back, honestly, even with giving up Boldy. Like Kucherov and Crosby alone, and like you said, McAvoy in his own right has been good. So, yeah, that's a smash of a trade for me.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the league depth. A lot of dynasty leagues, sometimes they have like 24 teams, 30 teams. Mm-hmm. If this is just like a 12-team league, this is a smash. But if it's a 30-team league, I don't know. You might want that depth where like 600 guys are rostered. So, yeah. All right. Would you trade Barzal for Bratt, Evan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian? Yeah, I would too. There's the league settings. Doesn't really matter. I would do it. Do you think Patrick Kane will get back on power play 1? I mean, JVR is going off. He will get cold. And when he does, I think yes. Evan, you're the Red Wings fan. What do you think?
I can confirm that he will be back on PP1 as soon as probably like a week.
1 week. All right. We'll check in next week on Trade Talks, and we'll be seeing Patrick Kane on the top power play. Darren Ho, hello, traded Wyatt Johnston and Heischer for Matthews and Velarde in Bangers Cats. Interesting. I don't love it. I'm not convinced Matthews is the 60-goal guy again. His hot streak is not enough for me. So yeah, I don't know if I love this trade. Do you guys like this trade?
I think I actually do like this trade. I think Matthews, he has been on a hot streak, but they've been changing up their offense a little bit. They're not like dumping the puck in and going, like they're letting the reins a little bit looser here, which I think is beneficial for Matthews. Velarde has to get back up onto that top line for him to have some real production. But in a Bangers Cats, Matthews is pretty. Actually, he blocks a lot, but so does Heischer. Heischer's just under a block a game, I think. You know what? I've talked myself out of it. I wouldn't do this.
Yeah, all I can say is I don't like this trade whatsoever. Wyatt Johnston to me is one of the best players at value this year, and I think he's only got more to give. And then Nico Heischer, I think we're all believers in the Devils kind of coming back. Nico Heischer had a power play goal today. And if you look at Nico Heischer versus Austin Matthews straight up rest of season, I think they're relatively comparable if the Devils get going. I know Matthews has had a bit of a little hot streak here. He's winking at the crowd in Colorado as he scores on my streamer of a goalie, Trent Miner. But, I don't think that continues all the way. Plus, I have concerns about Matthews' health rest of season.
All right. Reese's P, thoughts on trading Hedman for Kempe, your trade target in a 10-team standard Yahoo points 10-teamer. I think Hedman might actually be a drop. To be honest, hot take. I'm trading him for Kempe all day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
there's no hits or blocks. So, I mean, Hedman blocks a little bit. Kempe hits a little bit. So they're irrelevant. I'd go Kempe, better player.
Absolutely. Good call, Brian. And Reese's, thanks for the beatdown in the Experts League a few weeks ago. Here we go, bud.
All right, one last one before we get into our last bit of target grades. Should you drop Forsberg for Stamkos? As much yang as I'm talking about Philip Forsberg, no, I'm not doing that, especially just for another Nashville Predator. Hold on to Philip Forsberg. He's not as bad as I make him sound to be.
Agree.
Agreed.
All righty, we're getting into our fifth trade. 12-team Cats League, goals, assists, points, power play points, shots, hits, and blocks. Submitted by Anonymous. I don't know if that's a username Anonymous or if they wanted to be anonymous. Who knows? But we're giving away Tom Wilson, Morgan Riley, and Zibanejad, and we're receiving Mackenzie Weegar, Willie Nylander, and Alex DeBrincat. Brian.
Yeah. I'm giving this a boom. I'm giving this a B. I think it's a pretty fair trade, to be honest, all things considering. In a Cats League, obviously, Weegar has that shots, hit, blocks, like that you really value. You're really buying on the Nylander upside here, and DeBrincat's hot streak. Like, is it going to continue? It could. He's been really good this year. You're giving away Tom Wilson, who's having a career year, which I think we can all assume he'll regress a little bit here. Morgan Riley, I'm happy to get rid of him. And then Zibanejad, like I said, is the only hot spot on the Rangers. And if they go colder than they already have, like, he's going to suffer. So, yeah, I'd be making that trade. But I think it's a pretty fair trade, to be honest.
Just a B. What are we doing? Oh, no. This is a bad edit here because I gave this an A. My mistake here on the slide. Ignore, if you're on the YouTube, it's not a B. It's an A. This trade is an A. We're getting Willie Nylander and Alex DeBrincat, plus Mackenzie Weegar, who can help with the hits and blocks and shots. And we're only giving away Zibanejad, Tom Wilson, and Morgan Riley. Yeah, that's an A for me. Tom Wilson is not going to finish as a point-per-game player. He was hot last season, and a lot of people were calling for some regression. And he went the other way and shot even more efficient. But I think regression will come and the wheels may fall off for him. But this package is just too sweet. We Nylander, DeBrincat, and Weegar. Evan.
I think you copied the grades from the next trade. So yeah, I got this one here. Edit on YouTube. It is not a B minus. I'm giving this trade an A minus. So I agree with your take, Ryan, that this package of Nylander and DeBrincat, you're getting just massive amount of points there with goals, assists, power play points compared to Zibby and Wilson. I think Wilson's going to fall off a little bit. Wilson is really good in Cats leagues for the shots, hits, blocks, but you're getting that back with Uyghur. And I've kind of made it known I really don't value Morgan Riley for much of anything. So yeah, I definitely love this trade.
All right. Trade number 6. Evan, you want to take us through trade number 6?
Yeah, we got a 12-team Cats league. Goals, assists, power play points, shorthanded points, shots on goal, hits, blocks, submitted by Jason Kent 24. We're giving away Rasmus Dahlin and Austin Matthews, and receiving Cale Makar and Elias Pettersson.
All right. Big trade. Evan, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I gave it a B-. I like the trade. Or is this, I'm wondering here, did we get this?
Oh,
You got an A-.
I gave it an
We may have gotten this wrong. Oh, I clicked the wrong arrow here.
Yeah.
So Evan.
All right. I was gonna say I thought I was higher on this. I give this an A-. I really like getting Cale Makar here. Dahlin is good, but Makar is the best.
Mhm.
And I think, again, this just goes on your perception of Austin Matthews. I really don't think that this hot streak that he's on is going to continue. I think he's going to have some injury problems the rest of the season. I think the Leafs are going to still kind of just middle down the road. And I just think Makar is really good. And then in the Cats League, Pettersson can still help you out. He's still the number 1 guy in Vancouver, even though they are a dumpster fire. He's still getting like a point per game, close to it. So he scored a goal, their only goal on like 10 shots the other day against the Senators. So, but he still gets really good blocks. I think he's shooting a little bit more too. So I think, Pettersson, compared to Matthews, obviously you'd rather have Matthews, but the difference between Makar and Dahlin is so large that I would take that.
All right. And I gave this one a B. So similar. I just don't like it as much. I think we are probably selling low on Austin Matthews here. We are getting Makar, and Makar being the number 1 defenseman in fantasy hockey, possibly a top 3 fantasy asset. This is something that you might be necessary to get him. But Dahlin, we're going to talk about him. He's nothing special compared to Makar, but he's still top 10 fantasy defenseman. And Austin Matthews, as much as I am disappointed in Austin Matthews, it's a good trade. I would do it. But I think it's an overpay for Cale Makar. And Brian.
Interesting. I'm giving this a B-. So what that means is I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards no. And the reason being, I'm looking at Vancouver's offense and I'm thinking to myself, what offense? They don't have an offense. And I think that's really going to hurt Pettersson's value. Yeah, he gives you some periffs, but that's really it. Matthews' ceiling is higher than Pettersson. I think he's going to put up more points. And I know that Makar is the best player in this trade and has a great player schedule. But if I'm just looking at the rest of the season, I think I would value Dahlin and Matthews over Makar and Pettersson. Like as a bundle, that's as simple as that. Matthews still gives you good periffs as well. He blocks a lot. Dahlin's periffs are down, but he still has a high ceiling. And I know we'll get to talking to him shortly, but I would stay with Dahlin and Matthews.
I like this. I think it's interesting. I'll float one more to you guys. So similar to this trade, points league, I was offered Leo Carlson and Cale Makar for Kaprizov and Dahlin, and I said no. So I'd be getting Makar and Leo Carlson, giving away Kaprizov and Dahlin. I think that's just too much. I think my difference here is like Kaprizov compared to Matthews is where I'm going with this. Is like I think I'm lesser on Austin Matthews and the same on Dahlin, but I still think when you're getting Makar, the value that you have to give up is almost extreme in a lot of cases. Like if you're getting Makar, McDavid, McKinnon, you have to give up something that I feel like is extreme in value. But I feel like Matthews, had Matthews not gone on this hot streak, I don't think somebody would have made this deal. Like, are we in agreement with that? Like, I think if he hadn't gone on this 10-game heater, I think somebody would have been like, I'm not even trading Makar for this.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's similar trade. I think both trades, to be a fair trade in my eyes, You need better than Pedersen coming back. You need better than Leo Carlson coming back. You need like a top 40, maybe like a Jesper Bratt coming back too. And that would be like great. But again, this is Cale Makar. It's going to be tough to move Cale Makar.
Yeah.
All right. One last trade grade over here. This is a cupful league with D defensemen getting a bonus point when they get a point. Also, face-off wins and face-off losses are 0.1 and negative 0.1. This is submitted by Face-Off Ninja. It's a 1-for-1, giving away Nico Hischier and receiving guy we love to talk about on Trade Talks, JT Miller. Some context here. He acquired Hischier earlier, traded away Elias Pettersson for him. Now he wants to give him away. He also has Timo Meyer. But yeah, he wants to not be all in on the Devils, I guess. So he wants some JT Miller. So for me, I mean, Brian, you're up first. What do you give this one?
Brian's boom. It's a B-. Again, similar to last one. I'm on the fence, but I'm probably not doing this trade. I know we're all been on like big and high on the New York Rangers, but I'm just not the same when it comes to JT Miller. And I think we've already talked about the Devils. I think their offense is going to pick it up. Hischier's been pretty decent recently, and we do know that he goes through these really hot then really cold stretches. So I just think there's a lot more certainty with Nico Hischier than there is with JT Miller. I have no idea what's going on in the Rangers locker room, so I feel more comfortable holding on to Hischier for me.
Yeah. Evan?
I'm giving this one a C. If you're watching on the YouTube, it's not an A-. It is a C.
Okay. I figured it out, guys.
Going the wrong way. Yeah.
Ryan is no longer allowed to be in charge of the slides. We will fix this problem on the next podcast. So I give this one a C. I agree with you, Brian. I would not make this trade, but I'm a little bit lower than you are. I think we've seen proof of concept with JT Miller this year. He's been injured multiple times. He's down in the dumps. If you've ever looked at pictures of him after a game, he looks completely demoralized as the captain of that team. There is something really wrong with the Rangers this year, and I don't think it's going to be fixed. I know, like, from the beginning of the year, everyone's talked about the Rangers playoff schedule, but that doesn't matter if they're only going to score 1 or 2 goals a game. So, and I will say JT Miller has 2 assists in this game when they changed up the lines and they put Gabe Perreault on Hattie Watch with Mika Zibanejad. But Nico Hischier had 2 goals in the overtime winner in the game today. So, yeah, I'm much more about Nico Hischier. He's a better goal scorer, and I think the Devils have a better team situation moving forward.
Yeah. All right. I'm giving myself a D, just a D for clicking on these slides. But I'm learning here. I figured it out. When I click on the left side, it goes to the previous slide. I thought that just clicking anywhere would go some more. So yeah, this I agree with everything you guys said here. I'm giving this one a C+. I like JT Miller's upside. I like that playoff schedule, but Hischier is just a sure bet for what you're gonna get. JT Miller, too many questions right now. All right. You know what it's time for.
Dun, dun,
it's
dun,
time for Fantasy Hockey Court. Yeah, we need a little music here. Great. What do we got? We got
Straight Talks, 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 Straight Talks.
Yeah.
All right. Fantasy Hockey Court.
Before we get to Hockey Court, I think we got to do one of Blake Creamer's crash courses on how to insert these plugs with the audios. I think we got to get a little better with this.
Definitely. All right. So Rasmus Dahlin, he was drafted, as the 4th fantasy hockey defenseman this year. He was drafted in the 2nd round a lot, and he is being prosecuted right now by myself. I'm prosecuting and charging Rasmus Dahlin, and I am letting everyone know that Rasmus Dahlin is not a top 5 fantasy hockey defenseman. He won't turn it around and become that. He is just a top 10 guy now. And who do we got on the defense?
That is me. That is me today.
Yes.
Best defense lawyer he could hire.
All right. The defenseman needs a good defense here, Evan. So Brian, as the judge, are you gonna be a nice judge, a fair judge?
We'll see. We'll
Impartial.
see. I may
All
have
right,
accepted bribes. I may not have. We'll see.
All right. So Rasmus Dahlin, he has 2 goals tonight, which is really good for him. He really needed those goals. Both coming on the power play, I believe. Yes, great job, Rasmus Dahlin. So now he's on a 64-point pace with those goals tonight, and he's on a pace of 216 shots on goal, 62 hits, and 108 blocks. And that's where I want to point your attention. 62 hits. So last season he got around a pace of 110. But the season prior, he had 195 hits. And the blocks, the 2 seasons ago, 155. Last season, he had a pace similar to hits, around 110. So his peripherals really dropped off a cliff last year. But they have really jumped out of an airplane this year to be non-existent. He is not hitting anymore. He's on pace for 62 hits, which is it's just someone I ignore in hits, especially from a defenseman. And the blocks, it's not the two blocks a game that he was known for 2 seasons ago. So in my mind, Rasmus Dahlin, if you're looking at Rasmus Dahlin right now, you're looking at him for offense. He's no longer the peripheral god that put him in the top 3, top 4 conversation of fantasy hockey defensemen. Now all he is a guy who's on a 65-point pace. As Buffalo's #1 defenseman, and maybe he turns things around and gets there to a 70-point pace. But even so, like, he's not going to be a top 10 fantasy defenseman. So I'm putting you on the stand for being a dancing boy and being afraid of hitting. That's what I'm doing. Evan?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, are we here to talk about peripherals or are we here to talk about fantasy hockey points? Because I want to talk about points. And I'm glad you brought that up, Brian, because my client really proved himself today with 2 power play goals, and the game's not over. He may well get a hat trick. So here's the thing about Rasmus Dahlin. He had a slow start to the season, I think. And 2, I really think this whole situation with his fiance and going over to Sweden has really messed with him a little bit. Buffalo has been on a nice little hot streak recently, winning a bunch of games, and he hasn't been a big part of it. So people were worried about that, but he hasn't had to carry him like he normally does. To your point about the peripherals, he doesn't need to be hitting everything and blocking everything in sight because they have acquired some more defensemen. You got Samuelson out there. He's paired with doing that. You've got Owen Power and Bowen Byram stepping up on the second pairing now. So, in prior seasons, he was like pretty much one of the only defensemen there that was able to do those things. But I would very much like him I would much rather him on the ice and not injured by taking all these unnecessary hits and get me some more hat tricks than get, a few more hits for some measly peripheral points. I'd also like to point out that his shooting percentage is the lowest it's been in the past 6 seasons. He's at a 5.5 shooting percentage. In the prior 4 seasons, 8.5, 8.5, 7.4, 7.6. The 64-point pace that he's on is certainly not what we drafted him for, but I think things get better from here. I think that Rasmus Dahlin is an elite level talent, one of the most elite defensemen, and he's still very young. If you look at his season-long stats, shots per 60, 7th amongst all defensemen. Individual Corsi for per 60, 15th. I think that actually can get better. On ice, expected goals per 60, ranked 3rd amongst all defensemen. I think Rasmus Dahlin is still elite, and I think that you're going to see it moving forward. It's been unfortunate that his points have come in bunches and not as consistent as you'd like to see them being logging all those minutes and getting top power play there. But the talent's undeniable. You watch it. He is firing a lot of shots on net. There was a game against the Ottawa Senators several weeks ago where he literally took it end to end and deked through like 2 guys and scored. And that's the Rasmus Dahlin that I want you guys to believe in the rest of the season for your fantasy hockey defenseman.
All right. I hear you. I would like to say we're ignoring peripherals somewhat because I think you conceded that the peripherals are not coming back. He doesn't need them anymore. But yeah, fantasy points, just looking at fantasy points per game, he is way down at 15th in fantasy hockey defenseman. He was drafted as the 4th fantasy hockey defenseman in a lot of APL leagues, maybe the 5th in more leagues if Evan Bouchard went right before him. But in most of the leagues we were drafting, most of our mock drafts, he was going in the 2nd round, right after or right before Evan Bouchard as the 4th or 5th defenseman. And I'm here to tell you, he is a top 10 defenseman. He is not a top 5 defenseman. And I think even if things get better in his shooting percentage, he's not gonna get a point per game pace to finish the season. And he's going to need that to be in the top 5 of fantasy hockey defensemen.
We played a little game. We played a little game last time, Ryan. I'd like to play it with you again. We're going to play Would You Rather. Would you rather guys ahead of Rasmus Dahlin in fantasy hockey scoring? Would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin or Noah Dobson?
We're not looking at okay.
Would you rather
average?
Would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin or John Carlson? Would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin or Miguel Sergachev? Would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin or Darren Radish? Would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin or Lane Hudson? I don't think that any of these guys are going to finish above him in terms of fantasy hockey scoring.
Yeah, I mean you can pick the weird guys that are showing up there that will regress, but I'm gonna name 9 guys that I'd rather have than Rasmus Dahlin. We have Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, Evan Bouchard, Quinn Hughes. I would take let's say Jacob Chikrin there. I would take Lane Hudson, to be honest, and Mo Sider and Adam Fox when he returns. Josh Morrissey, Jake Sanderson, that's 10 already. And I could possibly squeeze Darren Radish in there. I could possibly squeeze even Miro Heiskanen in there. So, I mean, I'm saying top 10. I put him right there at number 12.
That is tough looks if you're squeezing Josh Morrissey, Lane Hudson, Mo Sider ahead of Rasmus Dahlin. I don't know what to tell you, Ryan. I think there's a conversation to be had moving into next season in terms of his draft position, compared to Evan Bouchard, the likes of that. I still think he's in that conversation. Obviously you got Cale Makar, Werenski, Quinn Hughes, Bouchard. Those are kind of the clear-cut 4s. I think there's an argument for him to be between the 5th and the 8th. And I think that, it depends on how he plays the rest of the season out. But I'll say this, the 2 power play goals he got tonight are a step in the right direction. And the talent is there. It's undeniable. The talent is there. I think he is more talented as a offensive fantasy hockey defenseman than all the other guys you just mentioned.
Very good points.
All right,
Ryan,
Brian.
Do you have a rebuttal, or the judge is coming in?
Well, my rebuttal is the eye test. Lane Hudson. Rasmus Dahlin is not more offensively talented than Lane Hudson.
Lane Hudson is going to finish with about a third of the shots, and he's also off the top power play for a Noah Dobson currently.
He's also going to finish with more blocks than Rasmus Dahlin. That's crazy.
That's a tough look.
Order in the court.
I'll concede that's a tough look.
Okay. Actually, Ryan, you brought up a point I was just going to bring up. If we're looking at first of all, we got to keep in mind that Rasmus Dahlin is charged with not being a top 5 fantasy defenseman. If you're looking at the point production, we already took a look at that. He ranks around the 12th mark, or whatever it is you pointed out there, Ryan. But also, Evan, to your point, you would have taken Rasmus Dahlin over Lane Hudson. One of the things that made Dahlin great was his peripherals, and he is pacing for a lot less blocks than Lane Hudson is. That can't be overstated here. The other thing we're keeping in mind is I'm looking at the points pace and the point per game pace of these defensemen, and I have to scroll an awfully long down this list here. So, yes, I think Rasmus Dahlin is a stud. I think he's a great defenseman to have, but is he a top 5 defenseman this year? He is not. So I will be charging him with a guilty verdict. If the police could come escort him back to his cell, that's going to be our verdict here today. I would probably put him in the top 10. Yes. Top 5. No.
All right. And I think we should point out the top 4 defensemen, I think, are clear cut with Makar, Werenski, Quinn Hughes, and Bouchard. And yeah, as much as you might want to put Darlene there, I think there's plenty of guys, whether it's Jacob Chikrin, Mo Sider, Lane Hudson, Adam Fox, maybe even Miro Heiskanen, plenty of guys who could get into that conversation. Maybe even Roman Yossi heats up and gets back in there.
Please. My client and I will be filing for an appeal very soon. This is just slander. At this point, I listen. I like Lane Hudson. The whole again, like, is the Dobson thing gonna stick? I don't know. His points are nice. His blocks are nice. He doesn't shoot. And then again, Chikrin. I like Chikrin. Is he gonna finish with like 30 plus goals? Like, I doubt it. And then you look at some of these other guys like Morrissey, Sanderson. Like, I still think they're a tier below Darlene. Like, maybe you're saying, well, his peripherals fell off, and we get that. And maybe next year we can kind of reassess. But I think if you look at individual talent, rest of season, I think it's just hard to deny that he is the most talented of the group offensively. And whether or not he gets it done will be up to him.
All right. It's balls in your court, Rasmus.
It is.
All right. Make sure if you enjoyed this episode, please drop us a like, write some comments, unlimited comments. There's not enough. Like just write anything you want. Well, not anything you want. Make it relevant, but comment on this, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and get into the Discord, because that's where all of the good fantasy hockey trade talks come from, and that's where you can submit your trades that we can grade. So yeah, that's all we got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to Matt Creamer for supplying the music for the podcast. Thanks for listening. Now go crush your fantasy leagues.